the opening of Prey really worked for me, and that's quite unusual in the opening of any game. um, uh, Not least, I mean, usually if I like the start of the game, it's because it gets out of your way and you just start playing right away. This one doesn't. It leads you in a little bit, and it's, you know, a story opening. And this one I really enjoyed. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided had just opened really badly for me. I just could not get into it, could not follow what was going on, didn't care about anything, and so I kind of want to compare and contrast how they both work. So this is okay. Wouldn't let me select that for a while. Choosing female Morgan, obviously the only correct choice. And it starts in your apartment. I think they both do. Well, you certainly no, you don't start in your apartment in Deus Ex. You do in Human Revolution, but maybe you don't in Human Revolution. Anyway, in both the new Deus Ex games, you go to your apartment at some point. And that's a generally pretty strong opening.
Good morning, Morgan. Today is Monday, March 15th, 2032.
I like the idea that your alarm clock would remind you of the year every time you wake up. So yeah, waking up in your apartment is a common opening to games, and but I wouldn't call it a cliche because it just makes a lot of sense, basically. Ugh, pre-order bonus. I had this turned off last time, but I wanted to see it this time. Good thing to interrupt your narrative with.
Wake up. You're burning daylight. Send the helicopter to pick you up. It's just a few tests. Don't forget to wear your suit. See you soon. Oh, listen. Really great you decided to come on board. We're gonna shake things up, Morgan. Like old times.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't call starting your apartment a cliche because it just makes a lot of sense as a place to start. I think maybe it's more common in games, or makes more sense in games than it does in non-interactive medium, because you need the start of the game to be a safe place. You need to be able to get a grip on the controls, figure out how to pick things up. All the things you do in a tutorial are basically pretty boring, and I would say sort of have to require a very low bar of skill and understanding from you. Basically, the start of the game has to work even if you don't really understand what's going on and you don't know the controls. And so this is a good way to start it, because I've got as long as I like, and it's also clear like what I have to do to progress. It's clear it's not going to move on with it until I do that, and so I know if I mess around here, I've got all the time in the world, and that's good. In terms of story, you just know the year and that you've woken up and your brother's talking to you. I wouldn't say I really gleaned anything from what he just said. It's basically you're going to pick up what happens, but for me, I'm very slow on picking this stuff up as well, which is like maybe an interesting thing to mention because this worked for me, even though I'm incredibly slow at picking everything up. I guess I would have checked my computer the first time. I can't remember for sure, but that's the kind of thing I would do. And the emails and stuff throughout Prey worked way better for me than in other games because you're so central to everything. Like, it's all kind of about you. And I don't like that when everyone's talking about you because they think you're incredible and important and you're the chosen one and you're going to save the world and everyone can't get over how good you are. In this, you're a great person, and everything's a bit kind of about you because you're a lot of these people's boss, and for other narrative reasons that we'll get into shortly. Again, a lot of this like really early narrative stuff doesn't, if I say it doesn't make sense, that sounds like an exaggeration. It's not that it's confusing, it's just that you don't really know how it all fits together yet. In particular, there's a lot of mentions of this neuromod that you're supposed to install, and from, I think my interpretation was I must have already done that. By your bed there's this instructions for how to install it, but the neuromod itself is conspicuously absent. And that'll come up a lot in the story as to, like, people later on actually think you have installed some neuromods, and you haven't. And the reason they're missing and who made them missing is a plot point. But for now, there's just lots of hints that you should have installed a neuromod, but you haven't, and there's no... I think you can access this screen, but the neuromod section isn't there yet. And then actually, if you're wondering like who Alex is and just want some more info about that, you do get a nice bit of background here. So if you're not sure what's going on, then obviously investigating a bit more gives you a bit more context, and that's nice. I also generally just like the apartment beginning, not just for gameplay reasons, but because it kind of you get a nice little portrait of your character, like not literally, but I know that I like things pretty neat. This is an extremely spacious apartment. It looks pretty. It's not not a lot of rooms, but it's extremely spacious and quite classy. Either the future is just very affluent and everyone has an apartment like this, or I'm pretty well off in this world. Have a fantastic view. It's all very like calm, and you can sort of role play a bit and forget. Oh, that's not shut. Take a shower, even though you're wearing socks, and then basically move on.
Morning, Miss Yu.
Okay, first NPC
Heard there's a
interaction,
chopper on the roof.
and you find
Must
out
be for you.
that you can keep talking to people to make them give you more dialogue, and that you can throw things at them to make them get annoyed with you. Actually, I wasn't annoyed by that.
Seriously?
There we go. That's an immersive sim. Throw a thing at a person and make them react. I also another reason I really enjoyed the emails and prayers, because the interface for them is so good. I love that it's all in world. I'm so much more inclined to just kind of move closer to something and look at it and press a button to interact with it. But in most of these games, interacting with it switches you to a different mode, and the whole world kind of falls away or is pushed off screen, and now you're locked into this thing, and you've got to press a special button to get out of it. And this sort of I want to say cognitive weight. That might not be the phrase I'm looking for. The sort of, in a way, it's like the experience cost of that. You're taking me out of the thing I was doing. You're changing the pace, you're changing the flow. My controls are all different now. I've got to, it's not difficult to learn how to use the interface, but it is a different interface, and I'm not allowed to do the things I was previously allowed to do. You are blocking me in all these ways and you're giving it a cost to use this thing. And so because the reward is so slight, it's just like vague flavor text, and they might not be interesting, and often aren't in other games, and sometimes aren't in this game. If you put a cost in front of that, I'm just disinclined to do it. I don't want to get sucked into a menu to read a thing that I'm not that interested in, and then I've got to pull myself back out. Whereas if you make it all in the world, I'm way more interested in that. Because the level of curiosity is so slight, and the level of difficulty, or difficulty is the wrong word, but effort to kind of get into it is also very slight in this game. It works. This song is cool, and it's a really particular vibe that to me did not match up to the game before, and certainly doesn't match up to the game after. This is a kind of upbeat, happy, feels like a kind of breath of fresh air, like obviously you're up in the air, and the song is very kind of I want to say spacey, but that makes it sound like I'm talking about space. It's not about outer space, but has this very, very like airy, breezy feel to it. It's kind of cool too. You're supposed to feel pretty cool to think about taking a helicopter to work, and it's a neat way to do in-world credits.
That's a nice view on the bay.
Always reminds me of Fringe when people do this. Him saying it's a nice view at that moment though is so like, he should say that if you're not looking in that direction, so that you're prompted to, but if you're already looking at it, it's a bit much. Hey, did you notice the giant letters? This is actually boring, I would like to say. I mean, I like the view for like 10 seconds I'm on board, and then for the rest of it I'm like, alright, get on with it now. I'm kind of, yeah, you've made a semi-pretty view. I say it's a nice view. It would be a nice view if it was real in the game. It's not brilliantly rendered, understandably, because the tech for rendering like landscapes is never going to come up again in the entire game, so it wouldn't be worth putting much effort into this. I mean, they obviously did put a lot of effort into it, but I mean, doing it to like a competitive standard where it's like as good as the latest Far Cry game would be pointless. So I don't begrudge them that, but it does mean that this journey is
Here we are, Miss
just
Yu.
kind of
Mind the
dull.
glass on the way
But
out.
even, I mean, I
Good
won't
luck to
defend
you.
that. I don't think they should have done that, but like you could have done that whole sequence in 10 seconds. But it is kind of funny in retrospect after the reveal we're coming up to.
Hello, Dr. Yu.
You can learn about Operaries if you like. I choose not to.
Welcome, Morgan Yu. You have a 9 a.m. appointment in the testing facility. Please confirm.
Like, what am I confirming here? Yes, I do? If I didn't, I would just walk out of the elevator, right? There's no other options. So I'm going down here. Landed on the roof. And we're going down to what floor? 71. So still quite high up.
Finally. Hey, you
Pulls you
don't
in
look
here.
terrible in a
Kinda wish you didn't
transfer
do that.
uniform. How's your eye? Still red? I know the test might seem a little unconventional, but it's a you family tradition. Breaking convention is in our blood. Once you start the test,
So you family
just do
tradition
whatever
to
comes natural.
do weird tests.
Don't overthink it. Dr. Bellamy's going
Is
to
that
walk
a
you
bug?
through the process. You're
No.
in good hands.
It looks like it's
We'll
going
be
to the
in
low-res
orbit
texture,
next
but
week.
actually, like, the filtering is still on.
I promise.
Mr. Yu, they're ready for your sister in room A.
Right.
So you're gearing up towards going to the
What's
space
that?
station. So we already know you're
Just
going to end
be
up on the space
yourself.
station.
I'll see you after.
And it's nice that this bit that is sort of, as I said, by necessity has to be a little bit dull or not too mega challenging or anything. They are using it as a kind of
Dr. Yu,
not delaying tactic, but like a building anticipation. You're going to go to the space station. You know the game's about being on a space station. Now they're building it up and saying, look, I promise you we're going to be there soon. Treating it as a reward, like a thing when you get there, it's going to be great. A big part of the appeal of the Harry Potter books is none of them start in Hogwarts. They always start at the Dursleys or in some equally unpleasant situation. And so you have this little bit of like not being in the cool, interesting place, and usually Harry is like dreaming of being back in the cool, interesting place, and then when you get to go to the cool, interesting place, it's that much nicer because you kind of know you want to go there. Like Harry wants to go there, Morgan wants to go there. Do I have to do something to start this?
Good morning, Morgan. I'm Dr. Bellamy. Looks like we have some tests to run through today. Probably not the kind of thing you're used to, I imagine, but trust me, you're going to do fantastic.
These tests are obviously
Okay.
a sort of tutorial.
Great.
I was going to say
Let's
tutorial in
begin.
disguise, but they're not
For
at all
this first
disguised.
test, I'd
It's
like
just
you to remove the
outright
boxes
tutorial.
from the
The only
red
thing that's
circle
a little
as
bit different is they're
quickly as
not
you
really.
can. Go with your gut. Okay?
This one in particular.
Wonderful.
This
Press
you
the
to pick
red
up
button
items,
when
I
you're
guess,
ready.
but they kind of already told you that in the apartment, and it's not that important. It's not like you hit a situation where you need to have already learnt that before, otherwise the game doesn't work. Like this, for purely tutorial reasons, I don't think this really has to be here. But luckily the tests have a good
Wonderful.
narrative purpose as well.
You're absolutely
And in fact,
fine.
this whole like
Let's move on to room
view
B
of
then.
all the testing apparatus is... What am I seeing over there? All that looks like a lighting rig and stuff. I remember, obviously I've been back there, but I can't remember exactly which bit of the kind of simulation apparatus it is. I'm wondering if you can see any like giveaway.
Okay, Morgan.
signs from there?
Listen carefully.
I don't think I can. I
I'd
think.
like you to do your best to hide in this room. Take your time, relax, think it over. No, I'm
Shouldn't have
kidding.
taught me to throw
You only
things.
have 9 seconds. Hit the red button when you're ready to start.
This is good because... Ooh, did I press it? Yeah. I wonder if they'll say the line. No.
Any synaptic register at all? No? No, that's fine.
So you learn later that
Sorry, let's keep things moving, Morgan. Head into room C.
that these guys
You're
think
doing
you've got some
marvelous.
neuromods in you, and each of these tests is instantly solvable with the right neuromod. All alien ones, actually. So the first one, you're supposed to like cast a concussive blast on those boxes, and they all get knocked out of that ring instantly. This one, you would use Mimic to turn yourself into the chair, and that would be a better way of hiding than hiding behind the chair. And if they can detect you're hiding behind the chair, which they didn't in that case, they say, is she hiding behind the chair? As if this is an idiotic thing to do. And that works even when you don't know what's going to happen later, because it's just funny that, like, to you it seems like the only way you could possibly hide in this room is to hide behind the chair, and then they're kind of like almost laughing at you for doing that. And then later when you learn they were actually expecting you to turn into the chair, it's even funnier that you just hid behind it. And then this is a test for remote manipulation.
All right. Here we go. For this
which
test, please
would also
press
let
the
this
blue
test be
button
solved
across
instantly.
the room as
But
quickly as you can.
that's the narrative reason for this test.
natural,
The gameplay reason for this
intuitive
test, being where it is
possible,
obviously that it
without
teaches you
thinking.
jumping,
Just go for
which
it.
I guess
Press
you
the
haven't had
red
to use
button
until
when you're
now.
ready.
And that's more of a logical thing to teach in a tutorial, because unlike lifting boxes, every time you go near a box that can be lifted, it will tell you press this to lift it. So that's sort of inherently tutorialized. Whereas jumping, obviously, they don't know when you want to jump and when you don't, so they don't put a constant on-screen prompt.
Simmons?
I installed exactly what Tina brought down.
Did you double check?
So you're getting the sense that something's gone wrong at this point, and when you don't know what's going to happen,
I apologize, Morgan.
that's
We're
intriguing.
having some
Particularly because the
trouble
test
with
seems so trivial, and you just do them in the
Not
only
your
way
fault.
that makes any
You're
sense.
doing
Like,
fabulous,
why are they
actually.
confused at you doing it that way?
One last room. Let's step into D.
So this is an eventful
Can
bit.
someone get me a cup of coffee?
Ooh, I meant to throw that out
I'd
of the way.
appreciate it. Thank you.
So something is going to happen
Okay, Morgan.
to this
Have
guy.
a seat at the table for me, please.
But they're asking me to look at the screen, and as you can see, if I look directly at the screen, I can just about see
Take a
the
look
coffee
at the
mug.
screen in front of you.
But it's,
I'm
it's up to
going
me
to
where
show
to
you a
look. I could look
series
like
of
this,
questions. Pick
and
the
I've watched
answer
people,
that
other people
makes
play
the
in
most
YouTube
sense
videos
to
and stuff,
you.
and it's very varying
Let's start on the
how,
screen when you're ready.
at what point they see that something's going on here. There's a moment at which it's completely revealed to you.
Good. Looks like you've got the hang of it.
You
Keep
can
going.
also kind of see it coming a little bit earlier. And it's not subtle. If it's on screen, it's not subtle. But I've seen people play with it, and it's on their screen, but they don't notice it. I'm not going to put any thought into this. I like
That's
this little
heavy stuff.
Q&A. It's clear from the nature of the questions that it's not really going to be relevant. But these are familiar philosophical conundrums. Having studied philosophy myself, I've obviously dealt with these, and so it's nice. There are the Fat Man one is a common conundrum. It's not specific to this, but obviously
Almost done.
this next one, pushing the Fat Man, is not a is a joke, basically. Usually this conundrum is like, okay, would you change the fate if the outcome is better? Then the next one is, okay, would you change the fate if the outcome is better, but you're sort of more directly endangering someone by doing it? Like, you don't just switch the tracks to hit someone else, you push a person in front of the train, which is more horrific. And then the third follow-up question is, would you sacrifice yourself to save the other people? And push the Fat Man is not meant to be an option.
You know what? I'd probably do the same thing. Well done. Well done. We're nearly through it.
I think actually,
For
there
this
are
next
versions of that where the
part,
Fat
I'm going to
Man
display
is still in
an
it.
image. I
The
want you to
funny
take a
thing
good
is
look
that,
at it.
see, that is not
In a
subtle, right?
moment, I'm going to ask you what.
So if you weren't looking then, you might look up when he stops saying his thing, and then of course,
Oh my god! Security! Security!
that whole thing. It really gets drained. And they just gas you at this point, which feels like the moment it would kind of fade out. Like in a movie, it would cut to the credits here and move on to the next scene. In the game, obviously, they can't take away control of you, or they shouldn't.
Alex,
And so they just gas you.
What's going on?
we have a problem.
What about Morgan?
Having subtitles
She's
on
alive.
means that you
sedated.
see people's names,
Clean it up.
and that probably
I'm on
helped
my
piece
way.
things together. I didn't have subtitles on the first time. So we're nearly at the end of
Good
what
morning,
I consider
Morgan.
the intro to
Today
Prey.
is Monday, March 15th, 2032.
This part, so I think that's the same date, right? They said at the start. So you're wondering whether time is looping, whether you died just then, whether the gas killed you, and now you've reset in some kind of like Edge of Tomorrow type scenario. But I think pretty soon. When does it happen? I thought it happened on a timer, but maybe it's just whenever. So if you check your computer, you're going to find out that things have changed. You've got 6 emails instead of 3, and they're all that. And if you do leave, putting the suit on the door, by the way, is a very gamey trick. Like, it's very easy to put things in a spot where the player's bound to see them, and it's very easy to tell the player to pick them up. But if they try and leave through the door, this is a gating trick. So if the suit was over here and I picked it up, and I didn't pick it up, and then I tried to use the door, it's not that they're worried that the players won't know the suit is there or won't know they're being told to do it. But if you tried to open the door, what do? Do they let you leave naked and then have a whole set of reactions for naked Morgan? If they say the door is locked, then why, when you pick up your suit, is it suddenly unlocked? Is the key in the suit pocket? Do they have to explain that? Whereas if they put it on the door, they can fudge it in a way that the reason you can't open the door is not that it's locked, it's that the interactive spot is shared with the suit, and so interacting when the suit is there, you put the suit on, and it's kind of... They obviously can't guarantee or know that you didn't want to open the door instead of putting the suit on, but it's just because they're close enough, they can kind of fudge it and say, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you meant to put the suit on. I didn't realize you wanted to open the door, because they can't let you open the door. And then this is the reveal that that things are different for sure. Get a weapon. When do they... Okay, now again.
Hello, Morgan.
Cool.
It's time we spoke. My code name is January. You're not dreaming. What happened yesterday was real. If you want to know what's going on, first you need to get out of your apartment building. You're not safe.
One thing actually they could have done that would have helped me a little bit is that at this point you don't know January's voice is your own. So that is your voice, and your character would know that, I think. But you haven't spoken yet, and the fact that that is your voice is significant. And also I had problems remembering that I was female Morgan, because I'd seen all the trailers had male Morgan in it, and yeah, I kept, because it's first person, you don't see yourself. There are also no reflections in the game, so you never see yourself that way. So you only see recordings of yourself, and you hear your own voice, and yeah, I just had no idea that January was my voice until much later, and so I didn't learn what my voice was until then, and so I had a less good sense of myself. So when I played it last time, I eventually just tried hitting this to see if I could smash it and if the water would come out. I wonder if they thought about that, whether they thought players would be inclined to smash a thing if there's water in it, because it would spill out. There's no obvious reason that you would want to do that, but there's nowhere to go here. You can't open this door. Corridor is dead end now, which it wasn't before. I don't think I noticed that or thought about it, but you know, if you're really paying attention, you'd probably think, that's weird. So yeah, I broke the fish tank last time, but actually it's cooler if you break this window. And the only reason I didn't come back here and break this, because I hate being told the door is jammed. But I didn't come back here because I assumed it was indestructible glass, because you can throw things at it, and I've tried that and that doesn't work. But yeah, this is looking glass technology, which comes up a whole bunch in the game, and it looks like glass and it shows an image, but it's not a flat image, it's an image that behaves realistically as you move around.
I'll keep in contact.
I don't know if there's any lore about that actually, about how it works, because what I want to know is, does it work for two people at once? Can they both be looking at it? Does that only work because it's tracking my position and it knows where I'm looking from and the whole screen is changing to show what I should be seeing? Or is it a kind of angle of incidence type thing where light that bounces off at 30 degrees is showing the right view for looking from 30 degrees? So now you can look at various things they've been manipulating about this scene. I mean, obviously right away, just from the visual look at this place, that they have been experimenting on you. You can see this glass from the other side. If we do go through the fish tank, where do we end up? I forget. I guess you're doing crouch jumping there as well. I think there's a mimic over here somewhere, and I don't really want to fight it right now. I just want to see what... So yeah, this has got a very behind-the-scenes feel. It's definitely, it literally says soundstage right there, and there's all this kind of wooden framing. That this is clearly a wall that is not meant to be viewed from this side. It's meant to be viewed from the other side, and you've just been viewing it from the other side, so now you know. And then you can read these emails that are about the tests they've been running on you, and here it actually mentions that taking orders from you and Alex. So this tells you that although you're being tested on, you're actually kind of in charge of it in some way, like you weren't... I think you don't know whether you're oblivious to it or not, but it doesn't... This is not a thing where you've been a victim for a long time. People are still talking about taking orders from you. And then that was a reference to the mimic getting out. What does the note say? Oh, as though they've been watching you, and here's their record of that. And so that's basically it. And all these emails around here are kind of all about tests. Here's the debriefing room with a lot of stuff that comes up later. And yeah, that whole helicopter ride, you get to see that that was all just done with screens as well, and you never left this building. And in fact, that this whole building is on the station. I guess the moment you leave into the lobby is the real official end of the intro, because that's when you see that you're on Talos 1. So that part of the reveal I haven't covered, but I'll leave it here because that's the part I wanted to talk about. Like, by this point, you're totally on board. The reveal, you know, it's not like this has never been done before, this idea that you've been studied from behind walls. But it got to the point quickly, it was beautifully done. The reveal moment, I didn't get to do this balcony smashing thing, that's the best way to do it, but that smashing the fish tank and coming out through here is just kind of intriguing. It feels like when you go behind the scenes in Portal. And then obviously finding these emails and understanding the full scope of what's been going on is a cool moment. And of course you're in the game now, so it's got me to the game and kept me like riveted all the way through, and excited to kind of get out into it. If it was quick from here to the station, I would play it, because that's a cool moment in itself. But there's actually like a whole set of like challenge, like combat and puzzles between here and the station, the lobby, I mean. But yeah, when you get out into the lobby, that's another really exciting moment of realizing, cool, I really am on the space station. Yeah, I think at this point I didn't know I was on the space station, actually. I was reading these emails, I knew I'd been tested on, but I didn't know I'd been tested on in space. The only clue to that was the presence of the mimics, the fact that aliens are here. So either they brought the aliens to Earth, or actually we are in the place the aliens broke out, which is the station. So yeah, that's about it.